So go to Economics Paper 2 for June 2021. The first question. 800,000 students graduated from universities in the UK in 2019. 380,000 of these started working jobs that did not require a degree. Which one of the following describes this situation? This situation is underemployment. It's underemployment occurs when individuals are working below their capacity or below their qualification or skills. And most of the time, this happens because of high unemployment rate. So the answer is A. I think it's clear. Yes. So go to question 2. Brazil annual rate of inflation between April 2019 and August 2019 is shown in the table. So we have the annual rate of inflation here. So which one of the following can be deduced from the table? They said there was a deflation between April and July. Deflation is a negative figure. So there's no negative figure here, there's no deflation. The average price level was highest. Well, we don't have price level here. There's no price level, there's no CPI, so we don't talk about price level. There was disinflation between April and July. April and July, there's disinflation, which is a fall in the rate of inflation, which is a positive fall in inflation rate. So that's the answer C. Question 3. South Africa annual government expenditure as a proportion of GDP increased from 31.4 to 34.6 between 2012 and 2019. So which one of the following is most likely to have contributed to this increase in government expenditure as a proportion of GDP? Government expenditure would have increased if there's low welfare payment. If there's low welfare payment, that is government expenditure reducing, it's not increasing. A lower exchange rate will bring about an increase. A lower exchange rate will bring about a fall in interest rate, which simply means export would have increased and government spending would fall and GDP would rise. So it's not B. Less economic activity. Yes, less economic activity could be as a result of unemployment. So that would mean government expenditure would increase because government might start spending on unemployment benefits. So the answer is C. And increased business confidence. Increased business confidence would reduce government expenditure, would that rather increase government revenue. So the answer is C for question 3. Question 4. It says the diagram shows an economic actual growth rate and trend growth rate. So which one of the following can be deduced from the graph? So here we have point U is the trend, point V is a negative output, point W is still the trend, it's growing, point X is a positive output gap. So what is output gap? Output gap is the difference between the potential output and the actual output. So which one of the following can be deduced? The economy is in recovery between point U and V. Point U and V, we talk about recovery if the economy is in recession. So there's no recession here, so it's not A. A positive output gap exists at point V. No. Point V is a negative output gap, it's not B. Unemployment is rising between point W and X. We're not talking about unemployment here. And if we look at it from W to X, there's a strain in the employment rate because a positive output gap means more, it's fully employed and you are even using more than what the full capacity. So there's no unemployment there. So a positive output gap exists at point Z, X. So that's the answer. So D is the answer for question 4. Question 5. So in Japan, private sector investment increased by 1.9% in the second quarter. Which one of the following was the most likely cause of this increase in investment? A decrease in the increase in investment will bring about a decrease in interest rates. Well, let's look at A decrease in the rate of economic growth. A increase in investment would increase economic growth. It's not. An increase in indirect taxation. Indirect taxes are taxes on consumption. Doesn't do anything to do with investment. An increase in tax on company profits. That will not increase. An increase in indirect tax will reduce investment. Yeah. An increase in tax will reduce investment because profit would fall. Mm-hmm. So a decrease in interest rate makes the price of borrowing to be cheaper. And as a result of that, firms will be able to borrow more for investment. So the answer is D for question 5. Question 6. In Denmark, the marginal propensity to consume is estimated to be 0.49. Based on this estimate, which one of the following is the value of the multiplier? So the value of the multiplier, the formula for multiplier is, the value for multiplier is 1 minus MPC. So for multiplier is 1 minus MPC. So here we have a multiplier to be 1 minus MPC, 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. That is multiplier. So here we have
1 minus 1,
which is multiplier. So we have 1 over 1 minus 0.1 0.49, and that's 1 over 0.51, and that gives us 1.96. So that's the answer. The answer is B. I think it's clear.
Yes.
So go to question
7.
Question 7. Question 7. So the French government is to offer 5 billion in tax relief for business investment. Explain one likely economic effect of this investment tax relief. First, what is investment? Investment is spending on capital goods. And tax relief is on investment occurs when firms are charged a lower tax rate to encourage them for investment or to invest. So the impact of tax relief on investment in France may bring about the following. It reduces the cost of production, which may in turn increase profitability for firms during investment. Aside that, it also increases output for firms. So if output is increasing for firms based on that, it's expected that the aggregate supply will shift rightward. So these are things you could talk about on investment. I think it's clear. It also increases employment opportunity.
Yeah.
It reduces price level. So we'll go to question 8. In the first quarter of 2019, average house prices were decreased by 15% in real terms in Sydney, Australia. There's no one possible impact of this change in house prices on the level of consumption. So according to the case study, the price of housing fell by 15%, right?
Yeah.
So this may bring about a loss in confidence as a result, a negative wealth effect. And the negative wealth effect will reduce consumption for households on goods and services. So that's the impact on consumption. I think it's clear. Question 9. In January 2019, the world price of oil was 29.78 per barrel. By May 2019, this had increased to 66.83 per barrel. Saudi Arabia is a net exporter of oil. Draw a diagram showing the change in aggregate demand for Saudi Arabia economy following the increase in the price of oil. Show the effect on price level and real output.